I think going into a movie with the idea that it will be bad isn't a good idea. I think it's better to go into a movie with an open mind and like a good mentality. Because if you go into it with a bad mentality, you're just going to notice the flaws. You're not really going to enjoy the movie. So I think, in essence, it's better to go in with an open mind so you can enjoy the movie and then think about things that bothered you afterwards. But I'm really excited. And I think for any major fan of a franchise like this, to see it in someone else's hands, it's always an opportunity more than anything. Fed Alvarez, I don't remember his name exactly. He seems like a really accomplished director, especially when it comes to horror. So I'm very excited to see where he's going to take it with Alien Romulus tomorrow at 7 p.m. One day before it releases internationally. You can't see it on my face, but I'm really excited. In preparation to go see Alien Romulus today, I decided to replay Alien Isolation, and that was a blast. I really just wanted to get in the alien headspace, the alien mood, and experience what I consider to be one of the best parts of the Alien franchise, and that's Alien Isolation. I'd love to make a long video about that game. It's a really, really good game, but I don't want to sit here and talk about Isolation. I'm really excited and filled with anticipation, and I'm just hoping that I'm not going to get let down. I'm going in with an open mind. I'm not going to try and fixate on the negative, like I said last night.
So are you excited to see the movie?
Hell yeah, bro. I'm so fucking excited. Dude, I'm leaving in like 2 hours.
And are you actually going to bike all the way there?
Yeah.
In 30-degree weather?
Yeah, I'll be soaked in sweat by the time I get there. I don't give a fuck. I hope the movie's good. I hope it's good. Just 3 more hours. Gonna see that movie. Dude, I cannot even describe with words the level of excitement I got right now, bro. I need out the door now. It is so hot outside. So it turns out they don't have the Romulus popcorn head things until tomorrow when it releases internationally, and that really sucks. But I got the poster behind me. I'm about to go in. I'm the only one in here right now. I just spilled my popcorn. Fuck. I got this really cool Screen X poster. I'll show you guys a clear view when I get home. The movie doesn't start for another 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna chill here. Whew, okay, that was definitely something. All right, so if you don't want any spoilers, skip to this part of the video and I will just give my rundown on how the movie made me feel and if I think you should go see it. So skip to that point now so you don't get any spoilers. Alien Romulus, it's in the books, and I gotta say first things first, it is not a bad movie. Alien Romulus had a lot of great things going for it, and I'm so excited for everyone else to start talking about it, because I have, as an Alien fan, loved a lot in this movie. And there was only one thing that I think I didn't like, and that was seeing CGI Ian Holm come back as Ash, as a destroyed android on the ship that they end up on. I don't think that was, like, I get it's a cool, like, idea on paper to bring back a familiar face, although it's a different character. This character's name is not Ash, it's Rook. I don't like that they put CGI version of him. It didn't really work. I mean, it looked bad at first, but as the movie continued, it didn't look as bad. To be fair, a lot of, like, he only got 4 minutes of screen time, but a lot of it was him on a grainy monitor. Aside from that though, this movie had really good effects, had really good characters, and it did a lot of things right. I think this is where a lot of the current, like the newest Alien films like Prometheus and Covenant fail the most. Isn't like all the elements put together, but the execution of those elements that really made those movies stink. Now, there's a few things that those movies did wrong. The characters were just there to be killed. The plot didn't really make a lot of sense. There wasn't like a clear goal until like the last bit of the movie. And the character decisions felt like they were stupid, like they didn't fall in line with character motivations, and I didn't feel like some of the characters even had motivations. They were just they were not people. They were just things to be killed by the xenomorph. And the other thing that those movies did were either tease the alien without showing it, or they only showed it as an animalistic creature, and I don't like that. I've never thought of the alien as just a movie monster. I've thought of it as a movie villain on the same level as Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. Like, it's up there in terms of incredibly terrifying force of nature coming towards our human characters, and they have to put everything together, brains and brawn, to try and stop them, just barely making it out alive. I think the Xenomorph is best described as a movie monster villain, not just a monster. I think that's the best way to put it. And unfortunately, those movies suffer from CGI Xenomorph, which I didn't like in the slightest. But in this movie, we have practical Xenomorphs, and the Xenomorphs look amazing. I think this is the best the Xenomorph has looked since Aliens. I'm going to be mentioning Aliens a lot in this review because, of course, it does reference Aliens as well as Alien a lot. Of course, this movie takes place between Alien and Aliens, similar to the game Alien Isolation, which I did talk about earlier. But this movie immediately starts with a Weyland-Yutani crew finding a piece of what looks like the leftover alien from the end of the first Alien movie, and you could see it even says, like, on the ship there, it said Nostromo. I immediately picked up on that detail. That, oh, okay, so they're picking up the something from the Nostromo after it was destroyed, which I don't get how there's any pieces of the Nostromo left. I don't know. That's just a nitpick. But they find it, and it turns out it's a Xenomorph. So this Xenomorph takes over this place called the Romulus. So basically, the motivation of our main characters, which are a bunch of kids. Going into this movie, I wasn't sure how I felt about a bunch of kid actors and kid characters, but I think it actually works a lot. This is a more modernized version. We need newer Alien fans, and I think it appeals to the younger audience, but also seeing children go through what adults have gone through in the past is a lot scarier, and I think people are afraid of the idea of kids being in these kind of movies because of how fucked up it can get. And yeah, things do get pretty fucked up, but it's not too over the top. As someone who loves all of the Alien movies, I can definitely like point out the flaws, especially in Alien vs. Predator Requiem. There's just too much over the top nonsense and violence. But this movie has really good effects, and the characters have motivations. They're not just people working on a mission to go colonize a planet like in every other Alien movie. The characters want to find a different planet where they can just have a better life. It's as simple as that, and they don't need to build on it. They don't build on it. It's just that's what they want to do. But in order to do that, they need to escape their job on this other planet, which I love the expanding on the universe. Not only do they expand on the universe of the Alien with like showing us other places, because we've only seen a couple places throughout the different movies, and they're usually on ships, and it's not very interesting. But in this movie, we do get some interesting little details about the world. I do like that the biology of the Xenomorph is focused on a little bit. There's now a new part of this biological cycle as it transforms into the full-on Xenomorph. It like turns into the sack thing on a wall. I think that's really cool. That's really creative like addition. It's not just shedding its skin and becoming bigger. It's got like a new phase that it has to go through first. And one of the characters walks up to it and tries to like zap the fuck out of it, like high voltage, like full power, shock it, and it doesn't work, obviously, and it just stabs him right in the eye. And I think it's cool that we didn't see him get stabbed in the eye, but he just started melting. This thing bled a little bit, and it bled all over him, and he just started melting little bit by little bit as he started to freak out, and then he was just dead. I thought that was the coolest kill in this movie. There were other things in this movie that I really liked, like the camera work. Like, I found a lot of times the camera was right up in the young actress's, I forget her name, but she plays the main character, Rain. The camera was right up in her face, and other characters too. We really got to see the expressions and like the emotion. We got to panic with them. Tense moments felt tense. Claustrophobic moments felt claustrophobic. Violent moments felt violent, and there were just so many cool ideas too. Like, this movie had so many interesting like set pieces and like ideas that I wouldn't have thought of like ever. There's a scene where they have to turn off the gravity so that they're allowed to shoot the aliens, because if they don't turn off the gravity, the acid blood's just gonna melt through and it's gonna cause them all to die. So a whole bunch of xenomorphs are coming towards this main girl, and she has to turn off the gravity and be held down by the guy behind her so that she can shoot them all. But there's just acid blood like flying around in zero gravity, but they have to now get through that And it's the coolest shit ever. They have to like crawl their way and like avoid getting hit by the acid blood. And it's like, it's such a brilliant idea. I can't imagine ever coming up with that like on my own for an alien movie. It was just so interesting. And then there's a scene where they're crawling up this elevator shaft, and at one point the gravity turns back on because it automatically turns back on. There's a whole bunch of xenomorphs now suddenly following them up the elevator shaft, and it's like one of those tense moments where she's about to reach the top before getting sucked down by gravity. She's about to grab her friend Andy's hand. Andy's a robot, by the way, and usually in movie moments like this, it looks like it's about to fail, but it doesn't fail. They usually end up, you know, getting up there and being safe. But no, she immediately starts to fall, presumably to her death, but she gets caught by a xenomorph. I thought this was such a cool moment. Of course, it's a moment in the trailer where she's face to face with the xenomorph, and that seemed like a bit of a cheesy moment to me for the trailer, but in this moment, it's epic as fuck. It didn't catch her to save her, it caught her to kill her itself. And it caught her with its tail and like wrapped her up and then was about to kill her. But then the android guy, Andy, he's up there, he's letting the elevator, like he's holding it so it doesn't fall down and kill her, but then he lets it go to kill all the xenomorphs. But this crafty xenomorph, again, I love that it's less of a monster and more of a villain. It's cunning, it's conniving, it's smart, it adapts. It ducks out of the fucking way, it doesn't get hit by the this is what I wanted from an alien movie. I wanted the alien at the top of its game, the characters at the top of its game, basically everything at the top of its game. This movie feels so much like the first Alien, especially in the first half of the movie. The later half, it feels more like Aliens and like a little bit of Resurrection. But basically, the alien is just so cool in this movie. I can't get over how cool the alien was, the way it grabbed her and the way it screamed at her face before eventually getting killed, and all the really cool callbacks. There were some interesting lines that they decided to throw in that were references to the original movies, and my best way to describe those usages in the movie is cute. Not great, not amazing, just cute. I liked it a lot. The other thing that happened was that this character named Andy is an android, and he starts off as a sort of like timid, like kind of like, he looks like he's crying, but with no tears. Like every single scene he's in at first, he looks like he's just, you know, like completely upset. But all of a sudden he gets this like power up so he understands what's going on, and he's super cool. And the actor who plays him, I don't know his name, but he is incredible. He's not Michael Fassbender level of android acting, but man, was he good in this role. He like fucking nailed an android in this role. And an interesting thing that they did, speaking of Michael Fassbender and the other movies, is that it actually ties back to Prometheus and Covenant, which is something I was hoping they wouldn't do, but it doesn't bother me that much because it's like a very light usage, and it led to my favorite part of the movie, which is the ending. Now, the black goo, or the pathogen from Prometheus and later Covenant, returns, and it seems that the Weyland-Yutani crew that was working on the Romulus found a way to implement it into other creatures to make them immortal and like make them evolve into like better, like higher level beings. It turns out it doesn't really work, and there's this really cool moment that was really tense for me, where it looked like they were about to give it to this one girl who is currently bleeding out and dying. They're about to give it to her, and the dramatic irony of the audience knowing that that thing isn't gonna fucking work, it's just gonna cause problems. But the characters not knowing that was so cool to me. And I like that they didn't do that, but she did it to herself. And that led to the ending of this movie. I personally loved it. A lot of people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people checked out during the like ending of this movie. But that creature that comes out of her, it feels very much like Prometheus. But it also, the creature reminds me of the newborn from Alien Resurrection. I don't like that movie very much. Like, it's definitely very fucking weird. And it even does the face, like, touching thing that the newborn does in Resurrection. But nonetheless, I fucking loved it. This is crazy. It's chaotic. It's just all over the place. And I fucking loved every second of it. They did the airlock trick, but they dialed it up to 11. They didn't just repeat it. They didn't just trench run it like fucking Star Wars. They went fucking crazy with it, and that's the best way you honestly could have done it. Instead of just knocking the thing out of the airlock and it holding on and then getting knocked out like properly, they were like driving a ship into like Saturn rings, like the rings around the planet, and they had this like cargo thing, and she decided to, the main girl decided, Rain decided to drop down into this thing to lure it down there. And she had to like release the clamps to drop the thing into the rings so that she could kill it. And she couldn't do it, it got stuck, because, you know, usually in these situations, there's something goes wrong, or something prevents it from happening. It gets stuck, so the little egg thing that it came out of, she throws it to make the acid spill, and it makes a hole, and the whole thing just comes down. And she's holding on for dear life, trying to climb her way back up into the ship, and out of nowhere, this thing just latches on her, and it's like trying to stab her, and it's like, oh man, it's just, that's the price of admission. I love that part so much. I know so many people are gonna say that it was stupid, that it was dumb, that they didn't like it, and that's where they checked out, and that if they cut that part of the movie, they would have liked it more. I couldn't disagree more. I loved it a lot. It definitely made the movie better for me in particular. I thought it was so cool, and I love that the movie ended hopeful, but also like ambiguous, but not so ambiguous like with Prometheus and Covenant, that we have so many questions left unanswered, and we want more. In a bad way. Here we want more in a good way, and we feel like we're satisfied. I feel personally like I'm satisfied with the way the movie ended. There's like all the loose ends are tied up, and the main two characters that we like survived, and I think that's great. I think that's a great way to end the movie. So all around, I loved Alien Romulus. Great movie, great characters, great performances especially, great effects, and the xenomorph is fucking amazing. I'm gonna give Alien Romulus a solid 8.5. It would be maybe a 9, like a very, very light 9, if it wasn't for the CGI that I mentioned in the spoiler part. That little bit really bothered me, but not so much that I would give it a 7 or a 6. 8.5, that's my solid rating after my first time view. I hope a lot of you share the same feelings about this movie. I loved it. But basically what I'm trying to say is I want the xenomorph to grab me with its tail, hold me up tightly, and finish me off.